what do you look for in a project, Brian? I mean, if is it the script, is it the team, is it a combo? What, as an actor, because you guys are more experienced now, you just don't make my movie. You don't say yes to every project. What are you looking for in a project?
For me, mostly it is the team, because that's where I learn the most, is from the people involved. If the story is great and all that other stuff, that's always the bonus to me. But if it's people I want to work with, people maybe I wanted to work with and I haven't worked with, people that I know are going to be fun to work with and that they're going to get along and that kind of stuff, it makes for, even if the end product is not that great, the experience, you're going to take something from the experience. And that's kind of what I look for, is what kind of experience it's going to give me, not necessarily if it's going to be this great film when we're done, but am I going to learn something from these people? Am I going to deepen my relationships with these people? Or, it's that's what I look for.
Christina, I mean, you've done lots of projects. The last several, what was it that drew you to do that project?
Well, sometimes it's the team. Sometimes it's the script. Sometimes I love the character, or I like a script that has some subtext in it where you've got something meaty to kind of play with. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes they're going to pay me, so that's nice too. Yeah.
There's always that, and it makes it a little bit better.
Makes it a little nice. Yeah.
The long days become a little more worth it. So, John, what do you when you're looking at a project, somebody says, "Will you be in this?" and you have to make that decision. What are you looking at?
Yeah, well, ideally, from an acting perspective, for me, is the role interesting? Is it? That's always the hopeful thing that I think I look at first. But it's a combination of it. I think it depends on the environment that you're talking about it, because there are a lot of different ways to go as far as acting, whether it's theater, or when you're thinking about it, theater, commercial acting, film acting, independent or otherwise. So, if you're talking about commercial, I look for anything that I can get to audition for that will pay. Typically not going to be a really, really great script all the time, but it pays. And then, theater, it depends if it's professional theater or community theater, and then you got to take those things into account, which is the people that you're working with or the project itself. And well, that maybe parlay into something else. Right. And there's always the wanting and the hope that the material itself will be interesting and rewarding to do. And sometimes it is about, if it's not going to be a paying job, about doing it because it is an interesting character, if it's something different that I haven't had a chance to do yet. So, what's something that you would tell people, this is a sign you should run away if you're committing to one of these free or almost no pay things? Just this is for actors out there in the world. I think it depends on where you are in your journey. I guess I've tried to always weigh it as far as is it going to be worth the investment? Well, for now, is it worth my investment of my time and money, because that's time away from my family or time that I have to take out from my job that I work. Those are the things I have to weigh now. Previously, it might have been, I might have not run away from something just to have the experience of it. But if there's a red flag, might be that you never see a script.
Yeah, that's
kind of a big one.
Yeah. That's kind
or
of
the
scary.
Script will be finished when we start shooting. And there's always things that can happen when you're working on a project, that you adjust the script, or things become, happen in the moment when you're doing things. But if there's not a script, it's kind of a red flag.
So if they ask you to pay to audition for the role or something like that, might be.
Yeah.
Some people.
That's a red
Wait,
flag.
you shouldn't do that?
Well, I know you're paying to be on this panel, so.
Yeah, that would be another.
So, was anything that you've seen that made you steer away from a project, Christina?
I have if they want me to do a role and it's no pay or very little pay, and then I see that they're not respecting my time, I think that could be a red flag in the future, that maybe this is a shoot that's going to go on and on and on, and I've committed to it but I'm not getting anything back, that sort of thing. Sometimes you can tell, I don't know, sometimes it's just a vibe you get from someone where you think, I'm not going to enjoy this, I'm not going to get along with this person, or that doesn't happen that often because I get along with everybody. But you know, sometimes it doesn't feel right. And then, yeah, mostly it would be if I feel like there's a lack of respect for the craft or for the art of filmmaking or something, I might not want to be part of that. And there are people that will try and tell you, you know, this film that hasn't even been cast yet is going to be in this film festival. This is going to be at Sundance or something, and so that would be a red flag because they don't know how it works. You know,
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
Yes. This will be great for your reel.
Yeah.
Do this one for me this time, and I'll pay you the next time.
Yeah, yeah.
I work on one project at a time. So, Brian, what's something that's cropped up?
I would say, you know, if they ask you to take your clothes off, but I took an industrial earlier this year, and I had to take my clothes off.
All right.
It was,
Boom, chicka, wow, wow.
they paid me pretty well, but it took me a few days to recover. But I think just to piggyback on what they've already covered, I mean, if there seems to be an overt lack of organization up front, that's probably an indicator of how the shoot's going to go. If they don't have any work they've ever produced before that they can point to, or if they're talking bigger than if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If they're cautiously optimistic, then they probably know a little bit more about how these things work. Like, we're going to submit to some festivals. That's a reasonable answer, but this is going to show at Sundance is probably not. Unless they've, you know, got an A-list actor that's bankrolling it or something. Occasionally, amazing things do happen, and people do have contacts that, and it works out. I mean, we were able to get an actor to do an 8 and 5 guest spot this year that I would have never thought in a million years we'd get any names attached to it except for John Osbeck or something.
Well, there you go. That's cream of the crop there.
But you know, sometimes stuff does happen, but I'd say just, you don't have to be cynical about it, but just if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If like Christina said, their time is, if they're all over the map with wanting you here and there and everywhere, and things keep falling through, that's probably a lack of leadership, and it's hard to take time away from your family and stuff, especially the older you get. When you're 22 and you got nothing else going on, you know, that's probably okay. But when you get a little older, it's hard to justify it. Yeah.
And I might also add on to that, you know, when you are initially getting started, I felt this way, and sometimes I still do. I really want to do as much as I possibly can, and you want to try to do all these projects, but you can sometimes get a feeling of like, man, if I don't do this one, I have to do this project for whatever reason. But there's always going to be another project. There's always something else. And I think, well, maybe this ties into auditions too, but there's going to be a point where what somebody is looking for lines up perfectly with what you do, and that's the great thing. All the other things could not happen, but sometimes subduing that feeling of like, I have to do everything that comes my way to get experience, or you don't have to do everything that comes your way. You know, if you're going to be sacrificing, like you said, either your morals of working with somebody who you feel that they don't respect you or the process or something like that, you know, it's okay to say no.